impact on the road. Problem for me is I've been seeing those types of reports for 20 years plus, and what happens is congestion gets worse and worse. It's not a minimal impact. And the reason for that is, of course, what counts is not the impact from a particular development, but the cumulative impact from all the developments in the area, in the municipality, and indeed often in surrounding municipalities. So we need to start, when we get applications in, to use the very good computer modeling software that exists at the CRD to say, with the decisions we are making and others are making throughout the region, what is happening to traffic congestion? Because until we do that, we're just going to continue to pile onto it. And my last general comment, it isn't totally germane in this case, but is the fact that we continue to classify watersheds as type 1 and type 2. And this one's a little different. But I'm saying this because I probably said it to the prior engineer 35 times, or maybe 40. I haven't had the opportunity to say it to the current engineer yet. Basically, the rationale is type 1 watershed is still fairly good shape. Type 2 is one we have trashed, so we require less of it. To me, that's completely, almost backwards. How is the type 2 watershed going to get better if we don't demand at least the standard that we demand of the type 1 watershed? That's what we should be aiming for. All type 1 watersheds, not some type 1 and type 2 that we kind of trash. So I'll just put that forward. I moved the recommendation, and this is in many ways a very attractive development, and I compliment the developer and the designers and others in the team who have brought forward what has a lot of attractive aspects to it. However, on the issue, I'm no fan of lot averaging. Make that clear right at the start. In this case, I particularly agree with staff that the lot averaging here is such that when you are looking at a local area plan that says each lot should be no less than 930 meters square, as it's averaged in here, you find one lot out of 8 that is actually by itself more than 930 meters square. The rest are all under. And the majority are in the 760 to 600 and something square meters. That to me is somewhat inconsistent with what we're trying to accomplish here. So I agree with the area local residents association, and I agree with the plan, and I agree with staff. I think this probably would be a much better development and more consistent with the policies we have in place with one less lot, and then would fit the rules better, and in my mind would provide a better end product as well. Like Mr. Whitfield, or Whitcroft, I agree that it isn't. I would have to take a little bit of argument with Mr. Cunningham's definition of efficiency in land use. It isn't a question of efficient land use. I mean, we could pile all sorts of properties into large estates outside the urban containment boundary. You could argue that that's more efficient use of the land, but it certainly isn't more effective use of the land in terms of trying to establish a sustainable approach. This is somewhat remote. It's not the most remote. It will probably be primarily automobile use. There are going to be expensive homes. I don't expect a lot of them to be taking the bus, although they have the option. I'm not interested in trying to cram the most possible lots in here. I will be willing to support this going back to look at 7, but it's not a place where I'm looking to maximize the density of the rules, or even tweak the rules a little bit to maximize the density. So for those reasons, I'm supportive of the staff report, and I think we would get into a better position if that was carried through. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dermott. Councillor Sanders, and then no? Oh, I thought you were ready to speak. Look at that, Councillor Workland, you're up that much sooner.
Thank you very much. I don't support option 1, and reminding quite often when I was in the building trade there, the trades that come in prices, no matter what they came with, I'd always have a price lower than I wanted. And as I've watched community groups too, in all respect to them, if you come with 10, they'd like 8. If you come with 8, they'd like 7. And the subdivision next to us, we saw the same thing happen there. And it's no disrespect, but when I look at what we do have here with 8 lots, I look at it and say, the lots set back onto it are smaller by 150 square meters than what we're getting in this subdivision. I guess I just ask myself, why? You know, we can talk about density, but density right behind it that we approved is that much more. So I do question that, and I look at the subdivision and I say, it's a good subdivision, good land use, and I do support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Workman. Councilor Brownhoff, and then Councilor Sanders has regrouped and is now ready to talk.
So I supported option 1 because I think you do need to go back and try and mitigate the tree loss. The tree loss is significant, and then if that road ever gets widened, then there's more tree loss. You're asking for a lot width variance on all the lots 1 to 7. And so I think if you have another look at it, you might be able to improve some of the siting. Also, I agree with option 1 that says house lot on lot 1 by moving further away from the road edge. There's a lot of traffic on this road, and it's very noisy and very difficult to get out on certain times of the day. So I think that would help. And then obviously the reduce impervious surfaces. So I think the development could be improved if you could retain more trees as opposed to losing more. And then just another discussion with our staff on how that could happen. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Brownhoff. Councilor Sanders. It's your turn.
Yes, I was just going to comment. Yes, I certainly support the 7 lot option, all the reasons that Councilor Brown said. The tree loss, the opportunity to make a better design, that's going to be quite an access or egress of that road coming out to Campo Bay Road, and perhaps the property next door, Lavinia Avenue, they have a nice environmental area when you go in with the road separated and stuff, and I think it works a lot better than this idea of this angled roadway coming out. I think it needs to just work better that way. And I think it's important that we meet our requirements of the local area plan. If it's 980 meters square, then that's what I think needs to be addressed, and taking that 1 lot out wouldn't be able to make that happen. I think that was it. I just look at the plans here that potentially in the future there could be a 22 lot subdivision next door. And I don't think we can ignore that that's a possibility. And there will be, if that goes ahead, all the tree loss down that property line. So I am certainly supporting option 1.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Sanders. Anyone else on the motion? There you go, Councilor Plant.
Yeah, I'll just quickly, thank you, Chair. I'll just quickly say I won't be supporting it. I support option 2. I spent extensive time on the site. I think that the local area plan, I think we all would acknowledge they need review, and I'm embarrassed to admit I can't tell exactly when Cordova Bay was done, but I think this sort of, this development I support. I think if you look at the land use, 8 on this site does not feel, when you walk the site, inappropriate. About the tree loss, half of the trees are derelict on that site. They are doing us a favor. Yes, it's a untouched piece of property, and that's great, but it's also, with all due respect to the current owners, there's garbage litter on it. This development is actually going to improve this. So, and as far as the density and the fact that it's car-centered, yes, and hopefully just to Broadmead and just to Cordova Bay. This is within a couple kilometers of both these communities, so I support it. I'll be defeating this, and if it does get hope to defeat this, and if it does, then I'll be coming back with option 2.
Okay, with that in mind, are there any other speakers? Mayor Atwell.
Just quickly, so it's clear, I'm going to be speaking against the motion as well. I won't repeat what Councillor Workman said, but I'm totally in agreement. I've looked at the map. As there's a lot of issues here, but when it comes to the recommendation to reduce it by one house, we've had this situation many, many times. I really have to think about what the grand impact is going to be to the community by doing this. Until I figure that out, I'm inclined to support it as is. I won't be supporting the motion.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Bryce.
I'm kind of on the fence a bit with this one. I, other than the need to make the numbers work and our commitment about lot sizes and everything and the impact on the greater community, it's an internal kind of development. It is what it is. It's one driveway more onto Prudhoe Bay Road. The applicant has sort of acquiesced to the people on Lavinia by wanting to have a low profile. I mean, unless you could have one less lot and not really save any trees unless you tagged them and been certain what the house placement here was going to be. I was prepared to support 8, and I haven't been convinced otherwise, so I think I'll vote against the motion.
Okay. It's up to me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah. It would die on failing. It would fail on a tie anyway. Okay. Well, I will call the question then for the sport of it. Those in favor? And opposed? So I've got Councillor Bryce, Councillor Werblin, Councillor Plant, and Mayor Atwell opposed. My vote would have been in favor of the motion, so we end up split, and we'll have to refer this to a meeting where we've got full council. Is that, how would we deal with that?
It's entirely up to council how they wish to proceed. If you want to postpone to a future meeting, or if you feel one of the other options might be reasonable for members of council.
Okay, well, as the motion failed, I'll entertain a motion from council in another direction. I saw Councillor Dermot's hand and then Plant.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My suspicion is that, you can test it if you want, but my suspicion is option 2 would meet the same fate.
Yeah.
So I would move that this item be postponed until committee of the whole with a full council.
Second. Who would like to speak to that? Councillor Plant, you want to speak to that? Councillor Werblin?
Just a question on it, and I don't know if it just applies to public hearing, but can a councillor come back and vote without hearing the input? There's no problem. Okay.
Oh, they're out.
If I can speak to that based on past experience, I think it's been an issue for public hearing more than the council and committee as a whole, that the councillor needs to hear all of the input during the public hearing and cannot miss any portion of it. So I think it would apply to the public hearing.
Okay, I will call the question on Councillor Dermot's motion to postpone to a future committee of the whole.
Public hearing?
No, it's not a motion for a public hearing. This is postponement to a future committee of the whole. Okay, those in favor? Opposed? Unopposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, I had a bet with myself we'd be out of here by midnight, and either way, I get to buy myself coffee in the morning. So I'll take a motion to adjourn committee. Do you need to go back to council? No? And those in favor? Opposed? None opposed? We can get out of here? All right, thanks very much, everybody. Oh.